Hey everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a few days. Apparently, Ezra has to say hi too. Today I really wanted to do a video that kind of really demonstrated how depression can play a part of eating disorders. And a lot of the times go hand in hand. That's not something a lot of people think about, but they're very correlated. So I thought I'd talk about it because I am also diagnosed with depression. And a lot of people who have eating disorders have depression kind of going with them. And that's because a lot of people with eating disorders obviously have self-esteem, image issues. For me, for instance, I've always doubted my self-worth. I've always felt insignificant and not worthy. And one thing that happens when you get into your eating disorder and you get so malnourished and you just feel down, you just really get down. You feel discouraged, things are hopeless, and then the depression really kicks in. At least for me. I felt once my self-image was kind of just down in the dumps and I just kind of started my eating disorder, I just kind of started getting this, well, what's the point kind of mood and attitude, especially this past year with going in and out of treatment and all the doctor's appointments and not being home for Christmas and all this stuff going on, like postponing my wedding, I just got to the point where I'm just like, well, what the hell? What's the point? My depression started really kicking in. So when I was home from treatment, and something I'm working on right now with my therapist and with my loved ones is kind of not letting that depression kick in. It's not when I have those free moments at home from my internship and work and all those things, not staying home in a blanket cuddled up with my dog watching movies all day. Now, obviously you have to have self-care. And obviously I just can't always be working at my internship, out with people, doing all these things. I can't be on the go 24/7. You have to be able to take a bath and, read and relax and do yoga, meditation, whatever, and have your own self-care. That is super, super important. I cannot stress that enough. But there is a fine line when it comes to doing self-care that can cross over into actual depression, where literally you don't want to take showers, you don't want to get up, you don't want to do this or that. There's a distinct difference between in the morning not wanting to get up for work and feeling grumpy and then being depressed. There is a big, huge difference. A lot of people, especially in America, say I have depression and because they just don't want to get up in the morning or certain things, when it's really not depression. It's just normal every day. That's just how it is. There's a difference that I think is very misunderstood, especially in the United States. And for me, when I was home, you can ask Blake, he's not here, but if you could ask him, he would say that was me. Literally, if I wasn't at work because I had to be, I would be at home sitting in our recliner under a blanket, doing nothing. Barely eating. Shower just because I had to, didn't want to stink, did nothing. That's pretty much all I did. Work and sit in bed in my recliner in our bedroom and watch TV. I didn't do nothing. I just wasn't, and I'm still working on that because there's definite times where it sets in. But that's something that we all have to work on. But that's something a lot of people don't realize is that eating disorders, depression comes a lot of the times hand in hand. And a lot of people with eating disorders also have depression. Because for me, they kind of one goes with the other. I mean, I was officially diagnosed when I was 13 with depression. And at that time, if it wasn't for me hiding it so well and my weight being stable, I could have been diagnosed with an eating disorder too, because I've had it since I was like 5. But I was diagnosed then with depression, but that's because it was very obvious when I was going through the move that I was getting depressed and things were going on. But like with eating disorders, those are a lot more harder to diagnose if it's not very obvious. Like you're not losing weight, you're not refusing to eat, like all these things are going on. They're a little bit, I want to say a little bit trickier, because like for the longest time I was able to, you know, everything was Gucci. Everything was Gucci. Like those 2 months I stayed home pretending to be sick, I got away with pretending to be physically sick when it was my eating disorder. I was purging. I wasn't having some weird stomach thing that was making me throw up. I was purging. I, you know, was not eating and all these things, and like it was like I was able to manipulate and like make it seem like it was a physical thing. So it was easier to cover up. But with depression, you can't really cover up just hiding in your bed. Well, obviously, depression is something, that's another thing I want to point out. Depression is obviously something you can cover up too. I mean, take for instance, there's a lot of like things on Facebook about famous actresses and actors like Robin Williams who committed suicide and had severe depression, but you would never know. So that is a disclaimer I do want to point out too. That is something, depression is something, people could be the happiest people on earth and also be very, very depressed and suicidal. That is something I also want to put out there. Everybody is different. So I don't want to just say depression is not something you can hide, because it depends on the person. Every case is different. Just like with eating disorders, just like with PTSD, every illness, just like with cancer or pneumonia, every case is different. So everybody's going to have a different circumstance. What goes on with me with my eating disorder is going to be, and my depression is going to be completely different than my best friend Tatiana's eating disorder and depression. Like it's very, very different. Like, you know, that's why when you go to a support group, they're very helpful, because everybody's going through the same illness, but differently, because everybody's different. So they can help each other through it and say, okay, you know, oh, you're going through that. Well, let me help you kind of work through that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. They can, you know, because everybody's different. So I just wanted to kind of say, like, for me, I'm working through it right now. Especially last weekend. I don't know if many of you know, I went to, a lot of you may know because of my post, I went to Wisconsin Dells with my friend Amber, she's literally known me since I was birth. She held me in the hospital the day I was born, literally. We went to Wisconsin Dells for the weekend, and last weekend was supposed to be the weekend I got married, and it happened to be one of the 2 weekends off this month I had off. So that's the weekend we picked to do the girls' weekend for the summer, because we thought it'd be a good weekend for me to get out of the house, which was good, because I woke up that morning and I wanted to do nothing. If it wasn't for the fact that we already had it planned and paid for, I would have literally stayed in bed in my blankets all day. Literally. June 8th would have been probably barely brushing my teeth and showering, to be honest. So that's another thing I want to point out with depression is one thing that I found helpful is to make plans kind of, like for me, that was really helpful, because then I had to get out of bed. I had to get ready. I had to shower and shave. I had to pack. I had to go on this trip, and it was so helpful. I got up. I took care of myself. I went out. I did things, and I 110% do not regret doing it. Such an amazing weekend. I will forever hold those memories in my heart. So worth it. But at that moment when I woke up, it didn't seem worth it. I wanted to just hide in my bed. So that's one thing, like, it's something I'm still working on. That's one thing people don't realize is, just like with covering it up and seeming like you're happy, it's a never going battle. Depression is not something that just because one week you're doing A-okay and all is happy go, that the next week you won't want to barely get up and brush your teeth. Like, it's a struggling thing. Just like an eating disorder. I mean, the other day, heck, literally 2 days ago. 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago, I was crying on the phone with my mom. I'm 22 and I was crying on the phone with my mom because I was traumatized by my dinner. I literally was traumatized. Blake was at work. So I got on the phone and called my mom, and because I know she was able to talk, and I started, as soon as I started talking to her, I started bawling because I was so just traumatized by how much I ate, and I felt so disgusted with myself that as soon as I started talking, I just started bawling. And that's another thing with depression, is having a support system is another thing that's really helpful. For me, my dog, this little ball of fur is literally my ray of sunshine. He is the goofiest thing of my life, and sometimes I can get super annoyed with him when I'm super depressed, but he can literally make my life. Like, he knows when I'm like about to cry. He knows when I'm going through things, when I'm having issues. Like, he will come up and he'll just cuddle me, or he will lick me gently. Like, having a pet, best thing ever. But I just wanted to do a little video to kind of put into aspect that even that depression can be partnered a lot with eating disorders. But also that goes along with a lot of mental illnesses. A lot of mental illnesses can play off each other and go back to back. So, like PTSD and depression, back to back. So a lot of times one mental illness can definitely leech off another and bring that one into your life. So I just thought that would be a good, interesting video. So thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like the video, and also leave any comments of any other further videos you want me to do, any questions, and thank you for watching, and love you all.